Honestly, guys, this is probably the most difficult review I've ever done. So, bear with me. X-Men Days of Future Past. So X-Men Days of Future Past is the next installment of the X-Men franchise, which, started out, and it's basically about this school of super mutants that are gifted people. They have superpowers, but we consider it the next step of human evolution. And, well, you know the basics of X-Men by now, I would hope. So, this is the next installment of that, and it takes place years in the future when we have these giant mutant-hunting robots called Sentinels, which in the comics were always my personal favorite in terms of the X-Men villains. And, we realize if it works for the machines, it works for us. And Professor Xavier's like, yeah, I've seen Terminator. We can do it. And we can do it better than the Terminators did. And so he says, let's send our own version of the Terminator back in time and send Wolverine back in time to save us all. This is why I said it's the most difficult review I've ever done. Because going into this film, I knew that critics have hailed it as one of the best X-Men movies ever made, also one of the best superhero movies ever made, for some of them. And then I watched it, and I sat there and said, I like it, but I'm really underwhelmed. I'm sorry to all of you X-Men fans. I was super disappointed with this film. I was really let down. And I'm gonna issue a little tough love with it. But yeah, guys, I'm really sorry. I was really let down. I wanted to love this movie. I loved X-Men First Class. I was like, this is a step in the direction I want. Because honestly, guys, let me let you in on a little secret. I didn't care much for the other X-Men movies, namely X-Men 1. The X-Men movies have been hot and cold for me. I loved First Class, not many of the others. X-Men 2. Loved X-Men 2. And other than that, yeah, the other X-Men movies, I'm sorry, I just didn't care much for. So you're bringing those characters in, and you're bringing the ones from First Class in, and they're all kind of clashing in their own X-Men Avengeries type scenario. And I was really underwhelmed. I mean, my girlfriend, whom I was with, loved the movie. She was like, oh yeah, that's really good. And so I know that people like it, but at the same time, I was really underwhelmed and just disappointed. Because I feel like I couldn't tell where the movie wanted to be. Where it was like some of it was really over the top and kind of goofy, and then some of it was super serious, and I get you can kind of have that mid-tone, but to me it felt like it was playing tug-of-war. The action was filmed superbly. That is one of the best compliments I gotta give this film, is the action is top-notch. I mean, especially when Blink is going around and just portals are going everywhere. That's the thing. I wanted to see more of the future. I thought I would want to see more of the past. But the future just was so much cooler to watch. The past was great in terms of the human story. Michael Fassbender kills it. James McAvoy, he does an amazing job. What else is there to say about them? You're probably never going to hear me say Michael Fassbender, he was that weak link. No, you're not going to hear that. Michael Fassbender was terrific. And, he honestly was one of the things that made the movie. Jennifer Lawrence, I'd forget occasionally was in it, and then I'd show up and be like, it's Jennifer Lawrence! Be my friend, please. The movie had a lot of great human elements in terms of hitting the emotional chords it needed to hit at the right time, but there were some that felt like it hit a little too much. I got really tired. This is not a spoiler, by the way. I got really tired of Professor Xavier's excessive pouting in this film. Pouting can be all you want in real life. I don't need it in movie. We can take some of that pouting, show Wolverine impatient later, and go back to the stuff. Because, if you're a Bishop fan, I'm sorry. I'm a Bishop fan. And yeah, Bishop. Oh, he's not Deadpool level of disappointing fans, but they underused Bishop to no end, and Halle Berry was probably a cameo at best. You know, it's like they didn't know where they wanted to be. I was really glad it wasn't the Wolverine show, but the movie felt so inconsistent if you really think about all the X-Men movies, okay? Think about all the X-Men movies and everything that happened in detail. Like, rewatch them. Then watch this. It doesn't fit. The movie doesn't fit. And then if someone wants to argue, oh, well, it's like a standalone movie. But there's characters from the other ones. They've clearly established they've done other things from the other ones. It's just inconsistent. The X-Men universe is so inconsistent, and it's frustrating. Because I'm sitting there going, okay, wait a minute. In the last one he did this, and now they negated that, but now they're addressing that again, and it's like it... for the sake of the plot. And now one of my biggest complaints, Quicksilver. Quicksilver was garbage in this movie. I hope that Joss Whedon fixes Quicksilver for the Avengers, because this guy was crap. He was a cartoon character. He was over the top. He was goofy in situations that it didn't work, and I get that he's supposed to be kind of like a hyperactive, like snarky kid, but he plays it so much like a cartoon character, I cannot begin to establish my frustrations with that. Quicksilver was terrible in this film. I felt he acted it awfully. I was sitting there going, dude, just get off the screen, just get off the screen. I mean, Quicksilver was that bad to me. I mean, some of you may be like, he was funny, and that's cool because it's in a superhero movie. And I'm sorry, guys, but to me, Quicksilver was a pile of garbage and a joke. And even when he's in this brief flash by Professor Xavier, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, they just like show all the X-Men kind of a thing, like a lineup. And he's in there, and I'm like, dude, don't be there, don't be there. He's that bad. It's such a joke. It's so... it's so frustrating. Because I wanted to see a cool Quicksilver. And it's like everything with him had to be like the wacky hour. And it was like the over-the-top wacky hour. And I was just annoyed by him. I was like, dude, just get off the screen. And, when you're watching an amazing actor like Michael Fassbender and then Quicksilver, and, how they hint like, oh yeah, my mother, she talked about my dad. Yeah, I'm fast. And then you're just like, okay, I've read the comics. I know what goes on. They don't even touch on it. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, we put Quicksilver in this movie because, well, we needed another character to horribly butcher. You disagree with me? Think about Deadpool. Remember Deadpool. The horrible contrast between the amazing first-class actors and minus, of course, you know that Xavier, I'm excluding them from this, Xavier and Gandalf, they are amazing, but everyone else over there feels like out of place to me now. And the first-class actors feel like they fit. So, yeah, and then Peter Dinklage was amazing in the movie. I know that Trask in the comics was not a midget, but you don't care because Dinklage is amazing. Put him in more stuff. I'm okay with that. He did such a good job of just playing this scientist that was just determined with his work, and I liked seeing that. And it's just, it had some spy elements, and, that was cool. I felt like the Sentinels were horribly underused. And the climax, it just felt like a lot of it just made no sense. And then they do like a plot twist, and it is stupid. I'm sorry. I think it's stupid, and it's a poor way to excuse a bunch of plot holes. I'm sorry. The funny thing is I'm butchering this movie, but I'm giving it tough love because I liked the movie. I was just so underwhelmed and so disappointed by it. Guys, I gotta give this movie a 65%. This film just, it could have been so much more to me. and the fight scenes were incredible, and that really boosted it. Originally, when I got out of the theater, I was like, this is like a 70%, and now it's down to a 65. You know what's funny though is I feel like I would buy this movie on DVD because I still actually like it. It's my second favorite X-Men movie. Well, third favorite. I forgot about X-Men 2. So I still actually like this movie, but I have so many problems with it. It's so ripping my brain apart right now, and it's still ripping my brain. And after I finish this review, I'm still going to be pondering this because I actually like the movie and I wouldn't mind seeing it again. But I was so underwhelmed and disappointed by it.